Connecting the dots of Social Security to Queen of England to the Vatican. The American public has awakened. If our elected representatives would have upheld the rule of law, upheld their oaths of office, performed their duties as they were paid to do, we the people would not have been forced to obtain a free education. Although it has been time-consuming, we have obtained more education than would have by attending law school and receiving a college degree. It is a blessing in disguise that our representatives and employees, federal, state, county, local, have failed in their duties and forced the people to research and investigate the corrupt agenda of our so-called representatives and their employee gatekeepers. Gatekeeper, one who answers the telephone, secretary, aide, and denies us access to our representatives. Now it is up to those of you who have not taken this opportunity to do so. These individuals will not make change, we the people will make change. Compliments to Jeanette Audrey, triplet, for her diligent research on the following: Social Security Administration and how the Queen of England owns Social Security and the Vatican believes they rule the world using us as slaves. This article and the following important document needs to be reviewed with the International Organizations Immunity Act December 9, 1945, CRIS.PDF, Corporation Trust Company Articles of Incorporation 1907, not included yet but available as a PDF, and the World Court Case.pdf file. Every corporation in the world runs through the Corporation Trust Company. This is explained in the below article, though the untrained eye may miss it. The Corporation Trust Company, CTC, is a Delaware corporation, established in 1907 as the Corporation Trust Company of America. The CTC Articles of Incorporation were amended in 1933 to the Corporation Trust Company. 1933, the same year the IRS began. Every court matter, as explained below, is reported through the CRIS, Court Registry Investment System, through the Department of Public Debt, the Department of Treasury, through the IRS, then through the Federal Reserve, which the World Court Case file shows. Partial list following. Their principal, Elizabeth Windsor II, Queen Elizabeth, United States of America, as ARCH Treasurer for the Vatican, DBA as all United States corporate domestic and foreign enemies. America has been duped, defrauded, exploited, robbed, pillaged, plundered, raped, demoralized, incarcerated, and repeatedly securitized for profit through the de facto judicial system set up by fraud through the Vatican, using the courts as a profiteering-racketeering enterprise, as a closed union shop in violation of the Taft-Hartley Act, with every judge and attorney a member of the Queen's Court, with titles of nobility and to whose allegiance is pledged as such by their oath, as international foreigners, and treasonous to this country, subject to U.S.C. Title 10 for military court-martial, as international and domestic terrorists, just for starters. The below 1492 document should be read prior to reading the 1600 desk charters of Virginia, Pennsylvania, Carolina, and a King's Charter which refuses to die, then read the International Organizations Immunity Act of December 9, 1945. The United Nations Charter is June 26, 1945, not coincidental. Additional recommended reading available through the Library of Congress are: Congressional Record of August 19, 1940, 76th Congress, 3rd Session. Honorable Judge Thorkelson, Steps Toward British Union, a World State, and International Strife, Part 1. Congressional Record of 1950, 81st Congress 2D Session. National Lawyers Guild, NLG. A Communist Front. Congressional Record 1953, 83rd Congress 1st Session, Thursday, February 3, 1953, hearings before a subcommittee of the Committee on Ways and Means. House of Representatives. Internal Revenue Investigation Statement of Dwight D. Avis, ATF, and Robert B. Ritter, Assistant ATF Tax Legal Division, of Bureau of Internal Revenue, page 13. Let me point this out now. Your income tax is 100% voluntary tax. And your liquor tax is 100% enforced tax. Now, The situation is as middle. Different as day and night. The money will be worth 100 cents on the dollar, because it is backed by the credit of the nation. It will represent a mortgage on all the homes and other property of all the people of the nation. The best way to describe how to follow this convoluted diabolical deception is this. Every Secretary of State delivers all corporation data to the Delaware Corporations Division. That data then goes directly to the Corporation Trust Company, whose registered agent is now the Corporation Trust Company, CTC, formerly the Wilmington Trust Company, until things started heating up for them about 3 years ago. Imagine that Delaware is a large vacuum cleaner, sucking all corporate data into itself. Then Delaware, having a hidden secret trapdoor underneath its corporation division, with a tunnel that runs under the Atlantic Ocean to the Queen, King, of England, is now awaiting anticipated delivery, now opens the palace trapdoor, accepts all Delaware's corporate data, which is every corporation, lockbox, mortgage, contract, deed, etc. in the world. Then the Queen, now holding the bag so to speak, runs out to the awaiting private jet on the Royal Airstrip, engines running, with the Pope now departing to the Vatican with this nation's wealth, after the Federal Reserve makes 28.25% off every securities investment first, starting the recycling laundering operation all over again. Let the reader now ask the question, who really foreclosed on all the homes across this country? Know that there is no statute of limitations on fraud. Previously sent and still available to the reader is The Secret Terrorists, Chapter 5, The Sinking of the Titanic, showing that the Titanic was built in 1912 specifically as a tomb for the world's wealthiest individuals in opposition to the upcoming 1913 Federal Reserve. All others in the lower decks 2-4 were considered collateral damage. Mass genocide, fraud, and insurance fraud are not the only claims that may be addressed here. The Federal Reserve, the Internal Revenue Service, the U.S. Treasury, every court, judge and attorney, are acting co-conspiring agents with the Vatican, as a racketeering enterprise, who will deploy and employ any means necessary, including mass genocide or murder, secretly or by the leaden bullet, see Assassins of Abraham Lincoln, to achieve the goal of the Vatican's intent of world domination as the New World Order, which by now is clearly obvious is out of order. Now the reader knows why George Bush stated the Constitution is just a GD, piece of paper. Because the Bushes know the rest of the story. Avalon.law.yale.edu web link. Privileges and prerogatives granted by their Catholic Majesties to Christopher Columbus, 1492 Ferdinand and Elizabeth, by the grace of God, King and Queen of Castile, of Leon, of Aragon, of Sicily, of Granada, of Toledo, of Valencia, of Galicia, of Majorca, of Menorca, of Seville, of Sardinia, of Jaén, of Algarve, of Algeciras, of Gibraltar, of the Canary Islands, Count and Countess of Barcelona, Lord and Lady of Biscay and Melina, Duke and Duchess of Athens and Neopatria, Count and Countess of Roussillon and Cerdagne, Marquis and Marchioness of Oristán and Gatineau, and c. For as much of you, Christopher Columbus, are going by our command, with some of our vessels and men, to discover and subdue some islands and continent in the ocean, and it is hoped that by God's assistance, some of the said islands and continent in the ocean will be discovered and conquered by your means and conduct. Therefore it is but just and reasonable, that since you expose yourself to such danger to serve us, you should be rewarded for it. And we being willing to honor and favor you for the reasons aforesaid, our will is, that you, Christopher Columbus, after discovering and conquering the said islands and continent in the said ocean, or any of them, shall be our admiral of the said islands and continent you shall so discover and conquer, and that you be our admiral, viceroy, and governor in them, and that for the future, you may call and style yourself, D. Christopher Columbus, and that your sons and successors in the said employment, may call themselves dons, admirals, viceroys, and governors of them, and that you may exercise the office of admiral, with the charge of viceroy and governor of the said islands and continent, which you and your lieutenants shall conquer, and freely decide all causes, civil and criminal, appertaining to the said employment of admiral, viceroy, and governor, as you shall think fit in justice, and as the admirals of our kingdoms used to do, and that you have power to punish offenders, and you and your lieutenants exercise the employments of admiral, viceroy, and governor, in all things belonging to the said offices, or any of them, and that you enjoy the perquisites and salaries belonging to the said employments, and to each of them, in the same manner as the High Admiral of our kingdoms does. And by this our letter, or a copy of it signed by a public notary, we command Prince John, our most dearly beloved son, the infants, dukes, prelates, marquises, great masters, and military orders, priors, commendaries, our councillors, judges, and other officers of justice whatsoever, belonging courts, and chancery, and constables of castles, strong houses, and others, and all corporations, bailiffs, governors, judges, commanders, sea officers, and the aldermen, common council, officers, and good people of all cities, lands, and places in our kingdoms and dominions, and in those you shall conquer and subdue, and the captains, masters, mates, and other officers and sailors, our natural subjects now being, or that shall be for the time to come, and any of them that when you shall have discovered the said islands and continent in the ocean, and you, or any that shall have your commission, shall have taken the usual oath in such cases, that they for the future, look upon you as long as you live, and after you, your son and heir, and so from one heir to another forever, as our admiral on our said ocean, and as viceroy and governor of the said islands and continent, by you, Christopher Columbus, discovered and conquered, and that they treat you and your lieutenants, by you appointed, for executing the employments of admiral, viceroy, and governor, as such in all respects, and give you all the perquisites and other things belonging and appertaining to the said offices, and allow, and cause to be allowed you, all the honors, graces, concessions, preeminences, prerogatives, immunities, and other things, or any of them which are due to you, by virtue of your commands of admiral, viceroy, and governor, and to be observed completely, so that nothing be diminished, and that they make no objection to this, or any part of it, nor suffer it to be made, forasmuch as we from this time forward, by this our letter, bestow on you the employments of admiral, viceroy, and perpetual governor forever, and we put you into possession of the said offices, and of every of them, and full power to use and exercise them, and to receive the perquisites and salaries belonging to them, or any of them, as was said above. Concerning all which things, if it be requisite, and you shall desire it, we command our chancellor, notaries, and other officers, to pass, seal, and deliver to you, our letter of privilege, in such form and legal manner, as you shall require or stand in need of. And that none of them presume to do anything to the contrary, upon pain of our displeasure, and forfeiture of 30 ducats for each offense. And we command him, who shall show them this our letter, that he summon them to appear before us at our court, where we shall then be, within 15 days after such summons, under the said penalty. Under which same, we also command any public notary whatsoever, that he give to him that shows of him, a certificate under his seal, that we may know how our command is obeyed. Given at Granada, on the 30th of April, in the year of our Lord, 1492. I, the King, I, the Queen. By their Majesties' command. John Coloma.